Welcome to Leading Life, the show all about living to the fullest and leading life on your terms.
You will learn tips, tools, and strategies for achieving total personal transformation.
I'm Bren.
And I'm Cam.
This is Leading Life. Hello and welcome to Leading Life Episode 1. My name is Bren.
And I'm Cam.
And oh man, are we ever excited to bring this podcast to you, because we've been working on this for a very long time. We've re-recorded this podcast a ton of times because we want to get it right and we want to really provide the value for you guys that you really deserve, because I'll tell you, we respect you for listening to this. I mean, we'll tell you a little bit about our lives and why we're doing this. Really is 7 years ago, we started a band together. Me and Cam played in a band for years, and we toured and we played lots of shows and recorded records and we had fans and the whole thing, and it was a really great experience. But by the end of it...
Well, brothers fight, right? So like by the end of it, we got into heated arguments and I was just not happy, and I thought the entire time was like, this band is going to be like my key to success. But I didn't know that. I thought for sure, like everyone told me, don't quit. Like that's the only thing I heard from my parents and from everybody who saw us play and stuff like that. So
don't quit. You got it, man.
Don't quit. Never quit. And it's like, oh man. So when I had the feeling of quitting, I felt horrible about myself. But then I read this book. Well, I didn't read it. Sorry. I found the YouTube video was like an audiobook for Think and Grow Rich. And it blew my mind. It was like, it just basically reminded me, and I'm sure everyone here has heard of that book. It's like extremely famous. It basically just reminded me that I can do anything I want. Like I can lead my life. I can go into the direction that I please. So this band is not the only way I can be successful. It's not my only key to happiness and success. So I quit. And when that happened,
well, I think we all realized after you decided that you didn't want to continue with the band, we all realized, this is not something we really want to do. It wasn't bringing us the level of fulfillment, the level of happiness, love, connection, none of that. It was just, and by reading Think and Grow Rich, there's a chapter in Think and Grow Rich called the Mastermind Principle or whatever, something like that. And he talks about the way a team should work, right? And as reading this book, I mean, Cam read the book before I did, and he sent it to me after he had already quit the band, right? So he quit the band, and I was furious. I was upset. I was depressed. I was blaming everybody else. I was blaming Cameron. It was ridiculous until I finally read this book and I realized, wow, that was not the way you run a team. We were not running a proper team, right? And so that's how we started this journey. Once I realized that, once I read the book, I found hope in humanity. I found hope in myself, and I found out like Cameron said, you could really lead your life in the direction you really want to go, and you don't have to go in the direction that you invested all your time in. That's another thing about the band was we invested 7 years of our lives into this project, into this baby of ours, right? And we were just ready to give it up because it wasn't bringing us the level of happiness, connection, and love that we really wanted. So we decided, look, we need to go in a new direction and see how things go. And once we went in that new direction, Cam.
Oh man, it was amazing. We took like 6 months of like not even talking to each other, but at the same time we were intensely studying personal development. It's like this whole new genre of entertainment for me that I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know personal development was a thing until I got into Think and Grow Rich, and I realized like, whoa, I can like watch videos and read books and I can grow myself as a person. Like that's basically why I was addicted to video games, was because you see your character grow. You see your guy like get armor and swords and like beat quests and stuff. But if I'm growing myself by reading books and watching videos, it's the same kind of fulfillment. That's why I was addicted to it for a while.
Yeah, like some people call it self-help, self-development, personal development. I like to use the words empowerment. I think empowerment really kind of grabs or captures the essence of personal development, right? I think what it's really about is putting the power back in the hands of someone who feels they lost their power. And that's the way I kind of felt in the band. I felt like I had no power. So once we got on this journey, once we started listening to podcasts, once we started reading books and actually searching, we found some answers. And that's where we are today now, because today we're at a point in our lives where we're entrepreneurs. We're running our own company, not working for anybody else, like literally leading life on our terms. Like that's why this show is about that, because our whole lives has been us doing what we want to do, not what other people have told us to do. And not to say we don't take other people's advice, because I'm telling you, you have to be open to people's advice. But that's what this show is about, leading life on your terms. So let's get into it. I think our first topic is going to give you a tool that you are going to use every day. And if you don't use it every day, you should probably use it every day, right? I mean, let's talk, actually, before we get into the topic, let's talk about the setting for the show.
Each of us will bring a topic every week. So this podcast will be once a week. So this week, Brennan has a topic for us, and next week I will bring a topic. And the idea is that, like, when I bring a topic, you don't know what it is, and it just creates this friction, you know, and it creates this conversation that'll hopefully go on for a half hour so that, you know, people can get some value from.
Yeah, so when I've got a topic, you kind of interview me on my topic, and when you have a topic, I interview you on your topic, right?
Essentially. And then we'll give each other ideas on the topic and kind of bounce ideas and examples back and forth.
Kind of Nick Palkowskiing each other, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so let's hype up this show now. Like I was telling you before, this episode, you're going to get a tool that you could use in anything. I mean, this is a tool I think most of us have learned in school, but we haven't used or taken very seriously. And so I want you to use this when you're setting your goals. I want you to use this when you're deciding what you want to do today. I want you to use this when you decide how you want to feel today or what you want to give and how you want to share. This tool, it's gold. You need to use it. And so basically, for me, I like to remember this tool by using my hand as kind of like a trigger for it. So you got 5 fingers on your hand, there's 5 steps. And I'll call this maybe the 5 steps to, what would you call it? 5 steps to getting whatever you want. 5 steps to getting clarity on whatever you want. It's really, that's what it's about, right? So it's the what, when, where, why, and how. Let me say that again. First step is what, when, where, why, and how. All fits on your finger. Pretty cool. So let me tell you a little bit about what. Cam, actually, before we get into this topic, do you have anything to comment on this?
Yeah, what do you mean by what, where, who, and isn't that for storytelling?
So you could use this for storytelling. You could use this for problem solving, and that's really what this is. It's getting clarity. These 5 questions, it's like those are the questions you could ask. You could add the question who if you'd like, but really, I'm guessing if you're the one setting the goal, it's probably for you, right? So don't bother with the who. Let's not overcomplicate things. What, when, why, where, how. So first step is what. And this step's critical because you really need to understand exactly what it is you want. I mean, exactly. If you just have a vague vision, like I want to be a rock star, for example, like my old story, it was, I want to be a rock star. I want to play for thousands of people. It was pretty much something along those lines. It wasn't very specific and it wasn't very clear. And I didn't really know how I was going to achieve it or how I would even tackle it because it was such a vague, be a rock star. Okay, it's vague, right? So when you're thinking of what you want to do, you're really going to want to use numbers. And so you could use, like, for example, if it's a feeling, like what would you do if it were a feeling that you wanted to measure? Like, I want to feel really happy. How would you reframe that into a more specific goal?
If I want to feel something, and for me it's connection and like art, like music, so I always have this vision of like me and my friends all playing instruments around a fire on the beach, and that's just like, it's just something that I think about and it instantly makes me happy. I just place myself there and I already feel happy. It's like instant. I don't know what it is.
How would you quantify that or measure that?
What do you mean by that?
Because the whole point of step 1 here is what do you want? And we're talking about specifically what numbers. So if you say, for example, you know, I want to connect with my friends on the beach around the fire. So you would say specifically how many friends? Specifically, actually, this actually goes into the next tip because these questions all lead into each other, right? So you're going to want to know what it is you want. And with what also comes when. So when do you want it? So you're going to say, okay, I want to connect with my friends on the beach. When? This weekend. And then the next step, and the reason we put a when, by the way, is because you really need a deadline for what it is you're trying to accomplish or whatever, right?
Well, yeah, like what I was picturing is like that beach was my backyard. So I'd have this nice beach house and right behind there is my fire pit and the beach and I'm just playing music with my friends, right? And that's like, oh, totally, man. And I've done it before, not in my backyard, but in someone else's backyard. And I already know how that feels. So it's kind of easy to create that inside of myself.
Yeah, I mean, we experienced this firsthand and I bet you probably do. I mean, if you've been to school at all, you'll understand they always give you a deadline. It's always like this project's done by this day, and if you don't get it done by that day, there's some sort of consequence. And that's what we're talking about here, is setting up that consequence for yourself, setting up that deadline so that you know what it is you want and you know exactly when you want it by. And if you don't get it by that time, it adds pressure, basically, right? You're adding fuel to the fire. And that's what these 5 questions are, because if you just know what you want, sometimes it's not enough fuel, or it's not enough clarity, or it's not enough something to actually go after and go get it. So once you know exactly what you want and exactly when you want it, the next step is where, right? What, when, where. And where would be in the beach on my backyard, right? You were skipping a few steps here, like, so I'm trying to catch up.
I guess I was.
Yeah. So like, you know exactly what you want, you know exactly when you want it by, and you know exactly where it's going to take place. Or this is really like the law of proximity. Like, you want to be in proximity of what it is you're trying to accomplish. For example, if you are trying to quick example here, Cam. Quick example.
Proximity?
Yeah, you got to be in proximity of your goal, right? Like, if you're trying to swim in the ocean, but you're in nowhere near the ocean, you're near a lake or something, or a river, right? Terrible example, but I think you know what I mean. You need to be in proximity of your goal, right? Say, Cameron, give me a goal. You want to. I
want a beach house.
You want a beach house, okay? Yes. But you're in the forest and there's no beaches anywhere, right? Well, so that's not a very realistic goal. You're going to have to get in proximity of that goal to make it happen. So that's why you really got to know where specifically it is. And I say the word specific a lot because that's the key. That is the key. When you don't know exactly what you want, a great example I hear all the time. You want some money? I want more money, right? That's a goal. Okay, well, here's $1 and get out of here, right? I mean, I hope you've heard that example as well, because more money could be any amount of money, right? So if you want specifically, I want to make $2,000 this week so that I'm financially free, right? And actually, I skipped a little bit ahead there. Oh, wait up one sec. So once you know what it is you want, and you know when you want it by, and you know exactly where that's going to be, this is my favorite and most important step, I'm telling you, is why do you want this in the first place? And because the why is really, that's the ultimate fuel. Because, I mean, think about it, right? As kids even, when we're kids and mom and dad ask us to do something, what's our initial question? Why? Why? And then they give you an answer, and then you ask why. And then you get another answer and they ask why. Like, I find as human beings, we have this like extreme amount of curiosity to just know why. And once we do know why, it gives us fuel. It gives us motivation. Like, that's what motivation comes from, right? Oh,
absolutely. A way to think about this also is like, when you really wanted something from your parents, you're like, oh, mom, I want an ice cream cone. She's like, oh, I'm not getting you. Like, I don't have the money. But mom, it's like, it tastes really good. And like, I'll love it. And like, like I can like, show off in front of my friends. I got this new ice cream cone. And like, it's my favorite kind. And like, and like, we're here for like 5 more minutes. Like, come on. Like, you give them a ton of reasons. Yeah. That's what I realized is every time I wanted something as a kid, I gave my parents like a million reasons. And what that did was amplify my desire that much more. It made me want it like 10 times more. That's the funny part.
And it helped them to understand why it was even worth your time, right? Well, kids make it a good point. He really could show off to his friends. So, I want to do that or whatever, right?
Yeah, dude, remember how persistent we were trying to get a RuneScape membership?
Cam, man, we persistence, man.
Like, we literally read the entire website, knew everything, every detail, and we told mom and dad, like, oh, we can go to like Asgarnia and like we can wear dragon helmets and like we can fight dragons and stuff. Like, come on, please get us this membership.
Me and Cam were pretty intense gamers at one point, if you can't tell.
Yeah. But no, this is the best part too, is because this is what gets you excited about it. The reason I want to connect and play music with my friends is because music is one of the only things that uses all your brain power, and it's literally a way to connect to somebody without even speaking words, man. It's like everybody's vibrating on that same frequency, and it's like it's a deep sense of collaboration, man.
And ironically, this 4th step, the why, your motivation, that's the reason that's the step that gets skipped the most. I find a lot of people, they'll skip straight from step 1 to step 5. What do I want? A lot of money. How am I going to get it? I don't know, right?
Well, that's what they tell you in school, man. They always just like, you tell them what you want, and they're just like, oh, how are you going to do that? What program are you going to?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's something we've developed. We've conditioned ourselves, and I don't think so much we've conditioned ourselves as, well, society has helped condition us. Schools have helped condition us. Our parents and their conditioning has helped condition us, right? And so it's important to be aware of these things, right? Because who you are as a person, what you do, what your thoughts are, what your feelings are, all that stuff, it's all real, but it's all kind of a result of past experiences. It's all a result. I mean, I can't say it's all a result of past experiences, but what I'm trying to say here is everything you know, everything you are as a person has been taught to you by other human beings, right? And so it's important to realize that we didn't necessarily set up our belief systems. We didn't necessarily set up our lives, right? But we have the capacity to lead our lives. But only if we follow these 5 steps, only if we actually have a system and a formula to do it. Because when we don't have a system or a formula, right, rarely does stuff actually get done. And that's why I love the idea of starting with this formula of all formulas, because these 5 steps I've used in so many different things. Like when it comes to my goals, I know exactly what my goals are, when, where, why, and how I'm going to achieve those goals. And trust me, when you know these things, you gain a new confidence. You don't have fear anymore. You don't have self-doubt. You don't have worry. You just do it because it's like fear is so easy to get over. Once you study it and once you realize what it really is, there's really nothing to be afraid of. And that's what stops us most of the time from achieving what we want, right? It's some sort of emotion, some sort of fear that's been conditioned into ourselves. And that's why it's important to develop these systems and to develop that big why, that big reason why you do what you do, that big reason why you're even going after your goals. Like, what's the point? Why are you doing this? And for some people, their reason is because I want to be a better person for myself, or because I want to be a better example for the people around me, for my kids, for my friends and family, for humanity as a whole, right? And there's so many different reasons for people to do things, but different reasons will drive different people, and you're going to have to find the why that really drives you. And this is, honestly, it's the most important part, but sometimes it's the toughest part. I can tell you from my personal experience, like using this formula, sometimes getting the why to do things is tough. Like, I'm not a runner, and so getting myself to run every day, like that's one of my goals, run every day. It's tough. Like, I really have to convince myself really well that, this is worth it. I'm going to reap the benefits. It feels good. Same for waking up early. I'll tell you, as productive as a person as I am not a morning person whatsoever. Mornings just do not work for me. And Cameron will tell you.
Dude, I've tried waking you up so many times. Every time I go to your room, it's like, hey, what's up, man? You gonna wake up? Yeah, I'll get up. Shut the door. I'm like, bro, like it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You gotta do it.
And you know why that is? It's because on nights where I go to bed without thinking about what I'm gonna do the next day, like when I go to bed without a plan or a system, essentially, I wake up without a plan or a system. But when I go to bed with a specific goal, with a specific time that I'm going to wake up, and a really good why, like a really good reason why I'm waking up in the morning, it's so easy. It's like that. But when you don't have that why, like for example, if you're a kid, you could use the example of school. If you're an adult, you could use the example of work. But how often do you actually wake up at the same time you wake up for work or school on the weekend as you do during the week?
Never. Never. Because you don't have that accountability, man. Like, mornings, they're difficult because when you have a job, you're obligated. When you go to school, you're obligated. But when you live like we do, it's like you got to be disciplined and you need reasons why you're doing it.
Exactly. And that's the big reason why for a lot of people is, hey, if I don't go into work today, I'm going to lose my job. So there's 2 ways you could chunk whys, something that you're going to lose or something you're going to gain, some pain or some pleasure. And so you can say, I'll lose my job, I'll lose my house, I'll lose my bills, I'll lose my opportunity to do this, I'll lose my freedom to do this, I'll lose this, and this. Or on the flip side, you could say, oh, if I wake up and go to work, I'll gain the money I need to go and purchase this so I could get some more freedom, or I could, go and share and give and give of myself.
Most of the time, it's like to not lose something.
It's true
That's what I
because I
realized.
think about it, like human beings, we do not want pain. It's like a person who's drowning, right? The one thing they're thinking about right now is breath. It's air. I got to get up and get some air. And I forget who said this.
It was that one dude, the dude who's intense.
E.T., the hip hop preacher.
There you go.
All right? Like he said in one of his speeches, he said, when you want to succeed as much as you want to breathe, that's when you'll be successful. And all he's really saying there is you need that why. When your why is as powerful as the need to breathe, nothing will stop you. Nothing will stop you, because at the end of the day, who's getting in your way from achieving your goals? And don't blame mom and dad. Don't blame society. Don't blame school, because the only person getting in the way from achieving what you want is actually you. And once you I'm sorry, don't get mad at me for telling you this, but once you accept that reality, once you accept the responsibility that your life is the way it is because of you, that's when you could change things. That's when you get the power back. That's when you say, wait a minute, this is my power. This is my life. I can lead it in whatever direction I want. So before we get off on a huge tangent, which we will, and I'm really excited for the show, because just think about it. Me and Cam, think of like we've been all over the place during this episode, and our podcast, this show that you're being a part of, it's going to be all over the place. You're going to get all sorts of different topics and different ideas, different tips, tools, strategies, all that stuff. And a quick recap here, or sorry, just this is an edit part. Where are we right now? How long have we been doing this? Like, how long have we been doing this?
Check out there, dude.
24 minutes.
Okay, good. So, step 5, the final step here to achieving anything you want, to getting clarity on your life, to leading your life in that direction, it's figuring out how you're going to do it. And that's what the rest of this podcast is going to be about.
All right, so let's recap this episode. So what were the steps again? Just real quick.
The steps, yeah. Step 1 is what? What do you want? And get specific. Give me some numbers. Exactly what you want. Step 2 is when you want it by. Give yourself that deadline so that you've got the pressure you need to actually get that stuff done. Step 3, what do you need to be? Where do you need to be to make this happen? Do you need to go somewhere? How could you get in proximity of your goal? Step 4 is why. What's the big reason for you to even want to go after this? Why is it even worth your time? And another thing you could think about is, why haven't you already gotten this? That's an important one, because you got to know why you want it and why you haven't gotten it already. That's really powerful. And finally, the 5th step is how. Develop a step-by-step strategy, something like what we've given you here. Develop a step-by-step strategy that you could take and use in your everyday. Center around, you could use these questions for whatever you want, but I suggest you use them for your day. So use these questions to plan your day. What do I want for my day? When, where, why, and how? What, when, where, why, how? Is that all we got for today, Cam?
I think that's it, man.
Wow. Episode 1 of Leading Life. We did it, man. How do you feel about that?
I feel good, dude. I'm excited.
So I hope if this doesn't add value for you, I don't know what will, right? And we really want you to stick around. It'd be really cool if you could get in contact with us on social media. My social media, it's all on the screen. Or if you're listening to us on podcast, you could catch me at Bren Dubé on Snapchat, Bren Dubé on Instagram, Bren Dubé on Facebook, and Dubé Bren on Twitter.
Dubé Bren on Twitter.
It's a little backwards on Twitter.
It was taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of me, look me up on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter at CamMoron123. For some reason, my name is taken on all of them. So CamMoron123. C-A Moron 123. Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. Hit me up.
Thank you for listening to episode 1 of Leading Life. Go check out implicitentertainment.com and go lead your life.